Hey everybody, this is set 2 of Stork versus Fantasy here in the World Cyber Games 2009 Korean qualifiers. And the Dragon, of course, representing China, like I said before. By the way, the next Collegiate Star League season, the second season, will be starting up in just a few weeks. It should be very exciting. Last season went I think incredibly well for a completely new league. I think there's more schools this time, even more great players, and I will be one of the official commentators for it, so I will keep you posted with promotion videos for matches and whatnot. We'll be posting them up on our accounts, and by we I mean Diggity and Moletrap and myself mainly. And we will be commentating some of them live. Certainly always good to see great players playing. Some of them are actually very good, like Yosh from Berkeley and Striker, I remember, was very good from MIT. A whole lot of other players, good American players who are going to be facing off actually in a exhibition match in just a week or so. So all this is very exciting. I certainly hope you guys will stay tuned for that also, because it's always fun to see what Americans can accomplish, and foreigners, and people like us, you know, young people in America who unfortunately do not have the luxury of being able to wash Stork's underwear and play StarCraft for 12 hours a day in the Samsung Con house. Anyway, this is going to be, the matchup's going to be on Return of the King here. We're going to see Fantasy at the upper right, Stork at the upper left. And we'll see what kind of openings they go for. Stork went for a pretty audacious 14 Command Center, 14 Nexus or 12 Nexus last game, and he paid the price for it early on. Fantasy just managed to destroy it pretty easily without suffering much to his own economy, and yet Stork managed to claw his way back up through basically just constant harassment of Fantasy, constantly managing to hold off Fantasy's armies, and finally just destroying him economically. Very, very impressive play. Let's see what Fantasy can do this time. He's going to go for a Wallen standard play here on Return of the King. I think it's a pretty balanced map. I do think Terran has a little bit of a favoring here, so perhaps Fantasy can save himself in this game. Stork, of course, you know, just a master of coming back from impossible odds. Also, very good with Reavers, as we all know. One of the best, I'd say. Maybe even better than Bisu with his Reaver play, which would make him pretty much the best. And speaking of that, where is best? Seriously, where'd that kid go? He was supposed to be the best. A while ago he was. He's still kicking around, I guess, but he has not been as successful as some of the older greats as of late. Stork has, meanwhile, gone for early gas. Pretty standard there. And Fantasy is going to go for a scout here. We'll see if he decides to go for a full Wallen. He is going to go for his gas also. We'll see if Fantasy decides to go for a more technical opening here in terms of a faster attack, or if he's going to go for a fast expand. I would slightly favor on this map going for a fast expand because it does favor Terran a little bit, and therefore you may want to play a longer game. However, Fantasy is well known for his very creative attacks. And his very good early game attacks, so certainly very viable option for him. A 2-factory or a vulture drop or some other technical attack. Alright, we've got a lucky scout there from Fantasy, managing to get into Stork's base. Stork's going to have to deal with that for a little bit of time. And Fantasy right now is probably going for fast expand, like I said. Good decision, I think. Yeah, wow, actually, I was just checking it up. The ratio is very much in favor of Terran. I did not know it was so much. The record is 11 and 18 Protoss versus Terran, so overall there's been a 62% win rate for the Terran race here against Protoss. Pretty imbalanced, and that's certainly fine because there's other maps that reverse that balance. That's going to be good for Fantasy. Stork has sent his first Zealot out to do some harassment here at Fantasy's front door. The SCV is not going to get caught anyway by the Zealots, so I might as well go do some harassment. Dragoon is out, going to kill off the SCV. Stork is, I don't think he's going to do much though. Stork has range going right now, or at least a spinning core. We'll see if it was a fake or not, or if he's going to go for more standard of an opening also. And by that, it probably some sort of fast expand with a robotics facility at some point. Alright, Fantasy so far is going for a very standard opening. He's going to go for the Machine Shop and the Fast Expand. Stork is not. Stork is not going for a standard opening. He's going for a Citadel. This means DTs, of course, and we'll see if he goes for a drop in addition. Yep, he is going to go for the DT drop. Ooh, this is going to be fun to watch. Stork certainly has pulled this off before. I would say his strength is probably the Reaver drop, but certainly a good DT drop can win the game. I think it won him the game against C once, in a game I remember was pretty spectacular on Andromeda. Maybe I was wrong about who the Protoss was, but doesn't matter. It looks like Stork's going to do some damage here at the front. Good timing there with his Dragoons. And Fantasy right now still does not have a tank out. This could be bad for him. He does have a tank now, and he is going to hold. Being forced to waste some minerals repairing, but certainly better than losing his front wall. Ooh, look at this. Fantasy is going to go for a early Academy rather than early turrets. He wants to know what Stork is up to. Now, Stork has hidden his Citadel and his Templar Archive, so the first scan from Fantasy, if he chooses to use one, probably will not show him anything useful. He might think it's a standard opening of some sort, an Observer opening or a Reaver one. And he's going for a starport, so I certainly hope for his sake he has he saves his scans up, because he's going to have no static detection, no turrets, and he instead is expecting some kind of Reaver harassment, I believe. The starport and the Wraith would be helpful there, or he's thinking about going for a drop of his own. Against the DT attack, he really has to get lucky, because the shuttle just has to drop the DTs anywhere, and then it could die, it can run away, whatever. It doesn't require the same kind of constant shuttle micro that a Reaver drop does. Stork's going to do that little drop in the back to pick up the protected expansion. He doesn't have his natural, though, so if this attack doesn't work out, he is going to have a lot of clawing back up to do again in this game. And I really like doing commentaries in the morning, by the way. I am more awake, although usually I don't have the time to, the luxury to. But I hope you guys enjoy these also. I certainly do. Anyway, it looks like Stork is going to move in with his probe and a shuttle, followed by a lot of forces. He's going to see what's going on. He sees the early Academy. That's going to lead him to perhaps change his tactics a little bit. Stork is spotted here with his shuttle, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Stork has DTs in the base. Fantasy is going to have to scan at some point. He scans. Stork picks it up. Oh, man. And this is the problem. When you don't have turrets, you don't have any anti-air, obviously, at least until Fantasy gets his Wraiths out. And, oh, no, Fantasy might be going for an early loss here in the series, although he does have the Wraith out, and I think the shuttle is now down. His front door is kind of in tatters here, and more DTs are coming in. However, if Fantasy can hold this off with judicious use of his scans, certainly he can pick up the advantage. Again, there's the SCV desperately trying to finish the engineering bay. Not going to happen, says Stork. Not in front of all my units, at least. Oh, and look at this. Stork just chopping up SCVs left and right inside the main. I think Fantasy is probably going to be out of the game. The shuttle, even, is still alive. Fantasy right now is having no luck. Basically, because of the builds, Fantasy basically had almost no chance. I mean, Stork being a good microer, he's going to make sure the scans are not going to kill all of his DTs at once. And especially the fact that Fantasy